guys, this is Rosa Kelly. Welcome back to the channel and happy October 1st. So I decided super last minute to create an October daily mini album journal style. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. So I have this little golden book that my daughter actually got me last year. She thought it would be really cute for me to make a journal out of that, but I never actually did it. So I think I'm gonna be working on that today and transforming this little golden book onto a beautiful journal slash album to document all of the October memories. So I'm going to be using the little golden book. I'm also going to be using some chipboard. So this little piece I cut at this is 8 inches, which is the size of my book, by 2.5. Okay, and then I'm just using what I have on my stash on through like junk journal style slash last minute project, and hopefully I can get a good use of this paper pack and just gonna add it all in. So I have a few pages left and some little scraps, so I think that's gonna be perfect for these. I'm gonna be using just probably one piece of cardstock to do the binding, and I also have some fabric. This fabric is gonna be optional, but since I have it, I've just found this on my stash, I thought this would be perfect for the spine of this book. And so yeah, so now let's go ahead and start. I don't have really big plans, so I figured this will be an ongoing project for the entire month of October. We can come and keep adding things and of course documenting our memories here as well. So I'm going to start by just removing the staples on the little golden book, and I do like to preserve the story, so I don't like altering the order of the pages when I transform my little golden books, because I still want to go back and look at the story. For the most part, when I transform these books, they really remind me of when my kids were little and we were like reading the stories together. So I have a little collection there, but from time to time I do like to transform these journals into fun, ways to document their memories. So I'm looking for this tool here. Okay, and so I'm just gonna start by removing the staples. Here we go. Just gonna try not to get myself here. And so hopefully you're inspired to start an October journal, and even if it's past October 1st or we're not prepared, that's okay. We can just go with the spare of the moment. I woke up super inspired this morning. It's like 6 a.m. when I'm recording this video, because I said it's now or never. Okay, so I'm almost there removing these staples. Okay, so we're just gonna do that, and then I'm just gonna try to get these out. There we go. Now I know I'm going to split the spine to add a bigger spine, so we're just gonna go ahead and cut these right here. And this was actually she picked this up from Target, so if you want to do a last minute project and you want to use a little golden book, that's probably a good place to find one of these. Okay, so I'm just gonna carefully remove and not alter the page sequence, and we're just gonna put those two signatures over to the side, and I'm just gonna finish up removing here the staples. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to get this from this side. Okay, so let's push this, and I have to remove a little bit of that golden here, which is okay because we're gonna rebind this book. Okay, I just don't want to cut this piece off. You know, you want to keep that. So we're gonna take out this stapler. Oh, there it went. Okay, and then same thing over here. Take this out and see. Oops. I'm really trying not to cut my fingers, so be very careful with that. I'm just trying to remove the tape and just take out that staple. There we go. Okay, almost. Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna make sure those are not on the floor because I do craft without shoes and socks and I don't want to be stabbed. Okay, there we go. And so I am just going to gonna even these. I'm just gonna cut all these little pieces that I lift up. Okay, so there we go. So now we are going to redo and add the spine here. So I'm going to use the little chipboard piece and my cardstock. So I'm just gonna put this piece here, and again this is about 2.5. So I'm going to cut my cardstock. We are just gonna do this at, let's do 3.5. Okay, and we're gonna also do this by 8, just so we have a base to glue that. And then for the inside, I'm gonna make this bigger. Okay, so for the inside, this one's gonna be 5 by 8. And you know, there's always different ways to do this. Every time I do one, I just do it a different way. I don't really stick to one technique. Sometimes I take out this entire piece and just make it more journal size, but this time I do want to keep the entire size of this. Okay, so we are going to glue the spine here. Okay, so I'm just gonna add the chipboard right there. Okay, and I'm going to add this back piece. Just add some glue here, and I do want to leave a tiny space in between these two pieces. Maybe I can clean the edge here. Just clean the edge. Okay, and we're just gonna place this piece right there, leaving a little space in between the two, and we're gonna glue that. Now for the front, I want to make sure I don't cover a lot of these, so maybe I can make this front piece just a little bit smaller. Okay, and I am going to add the glue here, and then again I'm just gonna clean the edge. Okay, there we go. Place that right there like that. Okay, so I guess I used the bigger piece on this side. No wonder it was a little long, but okay, that's fine. Now I just went ahead and cut another one, and this one is gonna go on the inside here. Okay, and I'm gonna add a little glue, and this is just to really bind all of these together. Okay, so I'm just adding some glue, and we're gonna place this piece right here and press down. Okay, so we're just gonna press and press down, and we're going to score on the bending lines. So I'm just gonna find that gap and we're going to score right here. Okay, and then same thing over here, and we're just gonna bring this up, fold this here. As you are bending, you want to score. Okay, and then I'm just gonna press down. Make sure your glue is dry before you start folding. So I'm just gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do this side over here, and okay, so there we go. Okay, so we have these binded together. Now I'm going to use my fabric to just kind of reinforce, but also to make it look really nice. You can also use some paper. If you don't have fabric, that's totally okay. You can just use paper and just cut a piece and do it like that. So I am just gonna cut, this is very uneven, but I'm just gonna cut a piece here. And just do a long piece, and I might have to even this out, but you know what, we're just going with the flow, and I'm not overthinking because, like I said, super early in the morning and I do have to get ready for work. Okay, so we are just gonna use these as a reference. So I want about an inch on the top, and this depends because you could wrap it around the cover like this, which is what I want to do, or you can just have it flush. You just glue it and then just trim the extra. So either way. Now I just want to make this fabric even. I'm just gonna get it as even as I can. Let's see, maybe over here. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna fold it. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit more even. And then I'm just gonna cut this piece. And I do have a cutting mat and, you know, a roller, you know, one of those pizza cutter looking cutters for fabric, so I can cut straight. But I just don't want to set all of that right now. Okay, so this is close enough to being even. So we're gonna place this here. Don't worry about your edge not being perfect, because I am gonna do a little trim there with some lace or something like that. Okay, so that's gonna go like this, right, and like that. Now it's up to you if you want to cover the back of your journal. I think I do, so I'm gonna make something a little bit more dark. So maybe, you know, something to kind of go with that. I'm thinking even this, I think this will go really nice with whole theme. Sorry about that. Okay, and so we're just gonna put that here before we add the fabric. And because I don't want to measure, I'm just gonna add my glue. And we're gonna glue this piece. Make sure you got a lot of glue on the edges, and we are just gonna place that right here. Okay, so press down, and then we're going to cut the paper, extra paper that we have here. Okay, so we are just going to cut. And then I just also want to make sure this side is even. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that seems pretty even here. And there you go. And now we're just gonna glue this fabric right here. I feel like I could do a little bit better with this edge, so I'm just gonna try and cut it a little bit more evenly. There we go. So we're gonna try this again over here. Okay, that should do it. Yeah. It's good enough, right? So now we're going to be using either fabric glue. I'm going to use 3-in-1 craft glue to glue this piece. So I suggest not adding a lot of glue because you don't want to wrinkle your fabric, or you can test your fabric before you glue it. Just gonna, cut a little piece or use your little scraps and glue them on paper to see if the glue will, kind of show on the outside of the fabric. Okay. So I'm assuming this is on my stash because I have used this before. So I'm just trusting the glue right now. I just love the texture. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm just gonna go here around. So when you go around, you can add a lot of glue on this side because you won't really see this. And I'm just gonna hold it right there. And then same thing here. Okay. We are just gonna hold that piece of glue right there like that. Okay, so this glue, this fabric is kind of like shredding a lot of this. That's why I want to go all the way around. I feel like if I cut it on the edge, it's gonna continue to do that. So hopefully this way it won't be doing that for too long. Look at that. Now we have our binding all ready. Let's see. Let's cut that a little bit. And it's starting to look like something right now. I like how this is. I like where we're going with this. Yes, that's cute. Okay, so now I do want to now cover this fabric, and so we're gonna add paper here again. And this is the paper that you're gonna be seeing on the outside, or in between the pages. So you can pick something a little bit pretty, or something dark, whatever you want over here. So I'm gonna use this piece and I'm going to cut. We're gonna cut these at 8 inches. So this is gonna be the same size as the book. So 8. And then I'm gonna cut this by like 6. Okay, so you want this to be bigger than the piece that you cut here, so you can cover all of that. Okay, and then that's gonna cover and secure all that is happening there at the center. So we're gonna add glue, okay, on the sides. And we're gonna add a lot of glue here. And we're also going to add fabric glue on this side here. Okay. And now I am ready to place this piece. Okay, and then just press down because it might be a little bulky next to your fabric. So you just want to press down here. Press, press, press. and then you really want to give this a minute to dry before you bend it again. Okay, so we are just gonna do that. Press down and press down. Okay, and then on the meantime, I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are going to be for my inside covers. So I think I forgot to measure the size of the book, but I think if I cut these pieces at like 6 inches, we should be okay, like 8 by 6, and then we can just put that right on the inside. And I want to use this gold page. Hopefully this is big enough. Let's see. So we want these to be 8. Let's see if this is 8. This might be a little too small. Oh, this is exactly 8. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna do 8, and I'm just gonna cut right before that little opening. So I don't want that hole. Okay, so this is about 5 3/4 or 5 1/2. Okay, and we are just gonna glue this on the inside covers here. And we're gonna put one. Let me just make this a little bit more straight. Oops. Okay, there we go. And we're going to do the other side. Okay, so that is going to go over here. Press down. Okay, there we go. And so now we're gonna fold our book again. So I'm just going to find those bending lines here again. It's gonna be a little hard to see because of the fabric, but it's right about here. So I'm just gonna kind of find it, and then I'm gonna score. Okay, so there it is. So you're gonna find your bending line right there, and we're going to score. Okay, so give it a good score, and then we're going to fold this up and just do the same thing we did before. Okay, so we're just gonna score as we fold. Okay, so we're just gonna do the same here on the other side. So right about there is my folding line, and there you go. Now it looks it looks so nice. I just love it. So that's gonna be the cover for this book. Now we're gonna be working on the pages. So I want this book to have 4 signature pages, and 2 of these signatures are gonna be Midori style, and 2 of them are gonna be kind of like a regular mini album page. So I want to do a little mix of the 2. So here I have the 2 signatures from the book. All I did is remove the staples, and I basically kept the order of the pages the same here. So what I'm gonna do is just reduce the size of this page here. So this is about 6 and I want to say 5/8. So I'm just gonna reduce that to 6 1/2 exactly. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same for this one, 6 1/2. Just take out a little tiny bit here. Okay, then I'm going to be using some 12 by 12 cardstock. So let me grab a few pages. So let me actually grab this here. This will be okay. I'm just using what I have on my stash, and hopefully I can get through this whole paper pack, because I do want to finish most of these. Okay, so I think that is good. Maybe one of these light colors, stripes. And so maybe I'm gonna have 3 of these for each of those signatures. So just let me grab another one here. Oh, that one's kind of the same. Yeah, that's okay. Alright, so we're just gonna put these to the side, and we are going to be cutting these pieces here to the size of my book page, which is 8 inches exactly here. So we are just going to cut these at 8 inches. Okay. And so this is going to be 8 by 12. Okay, so same thing on this one. So we're going to cut these at 8 inches. So I'm going to put this to the side. And now we are just going to score. So I'm going to be scoring, even though this is not going to be the full size to go all the way around the pages. I don't want having kind of like the layer effect on my pages. So I'm going to be scoring. Let me use, I like this one as the first page here. So this is going to be, we're gonna score this at about 6. We're gonna score at 6.5, but you want to make sure that when you fold it, you have your 6.5 here on the front. So I'm actually gonna score upside down. Okay, and so this is going to be, let's just fold this here. Okay, so we're gonna fold and fold, and then that's gonna be the first page for our signature. And then I'm gonna do the same. Actually, this is the second signature and this is the first, because I want to keep, like I said, the order of the book. Okay, so that, and then I'm gonna do another one for that other side. And so this one doesn't matter because you know which way it goes. Alright, so we're just scoring at 6.5, and I want to place this one here, or you can also do it upside down like that, so you cover the whole front of the signature page. And now we're going to be adding the pages that are going to go in between. So I'm going to do maybe 2 at 6 inches. Okay, so I'm scoring at 6 inches here, and I'm going to do 2. Okay, so we're just going to fold right there, and then we're going to put that somewhere here. So let's say this, each signature has 1, 2, oh, it has 3 pages too. So I'm gonna put like this one right here in between one of the pages. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same for the other one. So maybe we can find somewhere. So okay, when you go through your pages, whichever book you're working with, you will see that some pages are disconnected. Like this is one page, this is one page. But then you will find, and this again, also one page. But like, depending on the book you are using, some of these pages, like this one, look like a full spread 2 page into one, right? Like the design. So I don't like to interrupt and place a page there. I like to just see the whole beautiful kind of like display as it was intended. This one I don't mind breaking down because even though we have the same background, you know it's not the same scene, right? So I don't know if it matters too much to you, but for me, I kind of just like keeping the intention of the book. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one, just gonna bring this one down. Okay, so that is this one. And wait, let me see. Oh, this looks off because I folded it the wrong way. Okay, that's okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna put that one over here. And so for this other signature, I guess we can just place this somewhere right there, right? And okay, so those two we score at 6 inches. And then for the other two, we can score, I'm gonna score here at 4. Okay, and then I'm gonna score here maybe at 5. Sorry, at 9. Okay, and then this could be a tri-fold page. So we can fold this like that, and then we can fold this like that. Right, so this will be a tri-fold page, but we will place it on our book. So let's say we're done with that page. I don't want to put it here on the center because again that's one whole image. I guess this first signature mainly has that, you know, full displays, so I don't really want to alter that, so I'll just put it over here. Okay, so like that. So then when you go through your pages, you don't have the same page all the time. Like this one is almost a full size, then you have a small size, and then as you keep going through your signature, you have the full spread, and then here you have a flap, and then here you have another page, and so on, right? So then you have that and that back page there. And so I'm gonna do the same for this other one, and I think this color is it too light? No, I think it's okay. So we're gonna score again at 4 and at 9 to make this tri-fold page. Okay, so 4 and 9, and just fold. And now we're gonna add that over here. So maybe that can go here between these two pages, right there, like that. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to bind the signatures. So I'm going to bind each one separately. So we're gonna combine all these pages here and then just make this signature, and then we're gonna attach it to the book separately instead of attaching it to the spine. Okay, so I don't want to cover this up, and also I just want to have kind of enough space for 4 signature pages. Okay, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna need a needle and some twine or thread. I'm just using this golden twine, and we're going to grab all the pages. Okay, so and then you're gonna open it here at the center, and I'm going to clip it just because I don't want these pages moving. Okay, we're just gonna clip that right there, and then we are going to grab a pointy tool here, and we're gonna poke 3 holes. Okay, so I'm doing one at the center and one on each side, right there. Okay, and we are going to use the needle. This is embroidery needle, and then the thread, and then we're just gonna pass it through the center hole. Okay, and then we're gonna go, let's just leave a little tail behind. Then you're gonna go to the top and come out, and then go through the bottom here, and then come out. So I'm always holding that tail because I don't want that passing through, because then you have to start over, which is not the biggest issue, but we don't want to do this twice. And then once you're back here, you're gonna go back in through the center. Let's see, back in through the center. Okay, and then when you come out, you want to make sure that your center line here from the thread is in between. Okay, so you want to be in between these two pieces. So when you tie these, you want that line again to be at the center, and then we're just gonna cut these and make a knot. Okay, so we're just gonna tie these right there like that, and then we're going to put this one to the side and do the same with the other one. So again, I'm just gonna open these to the center here, and we're gonna hold these together and poke the 3 holes. Okay, so 1, 2, and I'm not measuring because this won't show on the spine. If I was adding this directly to the spine, I would be measuring and making sure that the spacing is even and it's the same on this side and on this side, so it all looks nice on the spine. But this is not gonna be seen, so we are okay. So again, I'm going in through the center, then at the bottom, okay, and then on the top, and then back in towards the center from the back to the front. Okay, and again, you want to make sure that your string is on both sides of this center, so I'm just gonna pass it like that, and then cut these. We don't need this anymore, and we are just going to tie and make a knot. Okay, there we go. Hopefully super easy, right? And so I don't like these strings hanging off the page, so I'm just gonna cut it short. And then same thing on this one. We are going to cut these short here. And then to attach these to our book, I am going to make a hinge for these pieces here. So I'm going to grab my cardstock, and I'm just going to use one of the leftover pieces. Let's see, which one do I want to use? I want to use a dark one, so I think that one should be fine, or maybe even, yeah, that one should be okay. I don't know why I'm choosing here. You're not really going to see this, but I'm going to cut these 2 pieces. So we are going to cut these at 8. Okay, and we're gonna cut these by 3. Okay, so 8 by 3, and then I'm going to score. We're going to score these 2 pieces here along the 3 inches. We're going to score at half, and then you're going to score at 1. Okay, and fold along these score lines. Okay, like that, and then same thing here, half and 1. And I know it's probably hard to see on this paper, but I'm just gonna fold and fold along the score lines, and I'm gonna fold it both ways so my page is really flexible. Okay, and then same thing on this one. I do want to fold it both ways here. Okay, and then this is the side that's gonna be glued. So one side is gonna be glued down on our spine, and the other is going to be our hinge. And then you can use either side, of course, depending on which side of the paper you want to show. Like if I glue these will be glued like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna start by adding these. Let me get my glue here, and we're gonna add glue to this 1/2 inch. So glue on this 1/2 inch section, and I'm just gonna place that right here like that. Okay, and then press down. Press down. Okay, so that's gonna be our first hinge, and I know this is a long piece, but I want to make sure that we have a good hold on this signature page here. And I also want to make sure it's not too long coming out. Shouldn't be. It should come out a little bit, but I'm okay with that because I'm going to put lace on the cover, and I'm okay with some of the pages coming out like this. Okay, so that is going to go right here. So you could always trim this down a little bit more if you don't want it coming out of your page, but I just don't want to trim. I just want to double check that I don't want to trim this. Maybe the first page I don't want to trim. I don't mind the other ones, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep the full length, and we are now just going to glue these here on this 3-inch section. So I'm gluing it on this flap. Okay, I know it's the same color of the spine, but I'm just gluing it on these flaps. We're just going to add this piece right there on top. Okay, so I'm just gonna open up my last page here and press down. Okay, so that is gonna be our first signature that has the book pages and some cardstock here for you to add some layouts as well. I love this Christmas town page, and then this opens, and that will be the end of that. Okay, so now we're gonna add the second one. So the second hinge, I'm going to put 1 inch away from the back folding line here. So I'm gonna go 1 inch, and we're gonna place that right there. So it will be 1 inch. If you fold this first 1/2 inch back, okay, it will be 1 inch from there, or you can do 1 inch from this one here. Okay, so basically you don't want to put it right next to the other one that we just glued. You want to give it a 1/2 inch space right there, because I want to kind of have these book signatures, and then I want to have another signature here in between, so leave a 1/2 inch space, and then we're gonna glue this next book signature page down. Okay, I hope that's clear. So we're just gonna add the glue, and again I'm just gonna stay away just about maybe 3/4 inches from this line here. Okay, and then we're gonna place these and press down. Okay, and then on this section here we're going to glue our signature page, signature section here. Okay, so I'm just adding glue, and we're gonna grab this one and place this right there. Okay, and then press down. And the reason why I'm adding these 2 signatures before and I'm not waiting to add the other 2 is because I want to kind of sandwich these sections here. So what we're gonna do is cut 2 pieces, and these are gonna be 8 by 1. Okay, so let's just bring the cutter, because I want to make sure the signatures, I know they're gonna get a little heavy, so I want to I'm using the same paper I have on the spine, and we're gonna cut this at 1 inch. Okay, so 1 by 8, here, and let's bring this. And so the 1/2 inch that I glued down, I want to basically sandwich and cover with this piece here. So it will be a seamless signature coming out here of the spine, but also we're going to be protecting it. Okay, so I'm just going to add the glue, this 1 inch, add a lot of glue here, and we're going to place that on top of that 1/2 inch that was glued down to the spine. Okay, and then press down. Let's use this tool here. Press down. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same with this other signature here. So the 1/2 inch that we glued down, we are going to cover with this paper here. And that is going right there. Okay, so press down. And there you go. You can't even, the funny thing is you can't even see where it joins because it's exactly the same paper. But okay, so then here we have the two of these book signatures, I'm gonna call them. And there you go. So let's do a walkthrough of this other one here, continuing with the story, the different size pages, just like that. I love these 1/2 pages, and then this little flap right there, and then these other pages here, and there you go. And so that is gonna be that. Okay, now you can always continue adding onto these pages even. So for example, on this page here, if I have just a piece that measures 8 inches, you can score at 1/2 inch here and continue adding pages. So let me just use this little leftover piece because I don't want that to go to waste. So this is about 4 inches. So 4 by 8, but again, you can use any size. You can even use a full, 8 by 6. And we can go ahead and add these to any of these pages here. Right, so maybe there. I don't want to put it on this side. So we can add it right there. Okay, so I'm just gonna add my glue, and we're gonna put these here. Okay, and then we're gonna press down right here. We are going to continue with the signature pages, but I'm going to make more of like signature mini album signature pages. So we're gonna create 2 more to put one here and one on the back. So I went ahead and printed out one of my digital collections. This is the Halloween Town collection that I created a couple years ago actually now, and I think it kind of goes with the Nightmare Before Christmas. Is loosely inspired on that because of the skeleton faces, but I think this will be a good match to kind of use as some of the mini album interactive pages here. So if you want to download this collection, it is available on my website, so I'll link it below. I'm also working with the remainders of this collection here that I had on my stash, and I'm happy to report that I'm almost done using this paper pack. And I probably had this for a couple of years, so I think the next series or challenge that I'm gonna do for myself is working with one paper pack from start to finish, only that paper pack, to see how many projects we can get out of that one paper pack, and get it done, and instead of like me hoarding these papers for years and years, because every Halloween I use probably a little bit of, you know, this and a little bit of that. So it would be nice to see how many projects we get out of one paper bag. If, you know, maybe we only get one big project done, but let me know if you want to see something like that. I think that's something I've been thinking on doing. So besides creating the signatures, I also want to use these papers to decorate some of the pages that are more kind of like blank. Of course, you can always leave this open to add pictures, or, you know, treat it as a mini album. But I think for the cover here, I'm gonna be adding maybe one of my Halloween town images. Let me just give you a quick walkthrough as I decide which one to use. So basically we have these really cool, kind of like Victorian-ish Halloween houses, Halloween decorated houses, and then created a little pumpkin patch and put the little monsters there. It was really fun creating this collection here, and like the houses, and just adding the pumpkins and layering. It was just really fun to create. So we have those. Then we have this really cool haunted house. This would be a really cool layout. So if you like going to haunted houses, it would be cool to make a page dedicated to that. And then we have this guy here. And then I love that we have some purple colors. They're very Halloween-y. And some of these are like bright and happy, but still a little bit creepy, cutesy-ish. And then we have these pages. So when I design my pages, I like doing combination, or kind of, so you can, if you wanted to, you can make this into a full spread, like the little town people. And then same thing here, I have this page that you can make into one full town spread here if you wanted to do something like that. And then same over here with these two friends. I love the colors over here. So I'll be using some of these. I think I'm gonna start by using this guy here, and then maybe we can put that right there at the center of this second signature. And let me go ahead and bring my cutter, and then we're gonna get right into making the signature pages. I just want to make sure I some more detail here. So I'm just gonna cut this piece like that, maybe at 5 by 7 ish, and yeah, we can put that right there. I'm also going to just use my distress ink and just ink around it. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that. Okay, and we can put that right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that right there. So let me know, what is your favorite thing to do Halloween related? Like, you like going to, you know, festivals, Halloween, you like dressing up, you don't like dressing up, you like staying home passing candy. You know, lately I have been just enjoying staying home passing candy and crafting. But I do like going to, you know, like the pumpkin patches that have a lot of different activities to do. I'm trying to make a little pocket on this page here. I think that will be kind of fun to do. So I'm just gonna use some of my little scrap pieces, and I think 5.5, yeah, that'll be the size of this pocket here. And I'm just gonna glue it on top. So we're just gonna add glue on 3 sides. Okay, just like a overimpose pocket right there. Okay, and then I'm doing that because I want to basically add this other piece. Okay, so we can put this little pumpkin right over here. And just do that. And then I can glue this piece. Okay. Just do a little decorating. It's just so fun to embellish and decorate even after you're done with projects. Always come back to add some more things, and this will be a fun little tag right there. So maybe for this I can just like round the corners, make it look a little bit more finished and not just like a piece of paper. So just round the corners right here. It's also always fun to do something like that. And then even if you have another piece, another little scrap piece, you can always just add it, you know, just create some layers. Let me bring my scoreboard, and I'm just gonna score here at 1/2 inch along the top, or just score a little bit right there. And then we can, oops, I just dropped something. And then we can just layer it right here. It will be a nice place for a picture, but also something a little bit more interesting than just a piece of paper. We can put that right here. And that way we're using some of our scraps, leftover pieces, and making something right there. So I'm just gonna put that here. Okay, and then this could be a place for a picture there, and then this can open up and even add more pictures on this little flap piece right there. So cute little tag, and then we can put that in there. You can even make it float here at the front on the top. Okay, so we're just gonna put that there. And okay, so I think I just wanted to add some of these paper to some of the pages that don't have a lot going on. But okay, so now let's go ahead and work on the signature pages. So we have 2 more signatures to create, and I'm actually gonna be working on black cardstock and then adding our design pages and kind of, you know, deciding how to decorate. Oh, let me just take all of these. So as I'm working on a project, I always like to keep all of my scrap pieces for the most part, and then once I'm done, if I have tiny things, I'll just get rid of them, honestly. But if I have big things like these, I keep saving them. But the goal is to finish this paper pack, so we're gonna try to use every little bit of it. Okay, so I'm going to use now some black cardstock, and I'm just going to use 65 pounds to not add a lot of weight to this book here. Okay, so let's get some sheets out, and we're gonna cut the base page. So my page, or what we're gonna cut here, is going to be we're gonna do 7.5 by 8. Okay, so that's gonna be the size for this particular book. So the pages will be the same size as the bigger pages here. Now we could also make it a little smaller, I guess. So maybe we can do 7. Okay, so 7 by 8, and we're going to score along the 7 inches. We're going to score at half. and add 1. Okay, and then we are just going to fold along the score lines, and we will do 2 of those. So let me do the second one. Okay, so let's do here 7 by 8, and then we're going to score along the 7 inches, add half and add 1, and we're going to fold. Okay, so now let's work on the first signature. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces at 6 1/4 by 8. Okay, and we're going to score along the 6 1/4. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, and then we are going to fold along the score lines. Okay, and then just grab the first signature page, and we're going to glue 1 on each side. Okay, so 1 on each side. So use this one here, and then we're gonna open this up. See, press down, and we're going to add the second piece right over here. Okay, and okay, make sure it's lined up. All right, now we're going to cut a piece that is going to be, I'm going to do 2. This is going to be by 6 7/8. Okay, so just a tiny bit before the 7. Okay, so 2 by 6 7/8, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, and then we're going to fold and fold here, and we're going to open this up, and we're going to add this piece right at the center, and we're gonna stay away from the edge about by like 1 inch. Okay, and then press down and press, add the glue and then we're gonna press down here on both sides. So we are just gonna make sure that it's going straight, and there we go, and there we go. Okay, so back to the cutting part. We are going to cut 1 piece, and this is going to be 5 1/2, okay, by 9, and then along the 9 inches we are going to score at 3/4 and at 1 1/2. Okay, and fold along the score lines. Okay, then we are going to cut 2 pieces here, and one is going to be 5 1/2 by 6 inches, and one is going to be 5 1/2 by 7. Okay, we're gonna glue the piece that is 5 1/2 by 6 along on the first 3/4 inch section here. So we're gonna add the glue, and we're going to put this piece right there and press down. And then we're going to add glue on this 3/4 inch section on the top. And we're going to add this piece right here. Okay, so we have 1 and 2. Now let's bring back this page and we're going to open and open, and then we have that belly band that we just added. So we're going to open this up and we're going to slide the back piece down, and then we're just going to center it right here. Okay, so up and down you will center it, and then we are going to open these and we're going to add the glue only on this belly band. Okay, on the 2-inch belly band. Okay, and then we're gonna close this. Close that piece. Press down. Okay, and so now we're gonna pull down this back piece here, and when you pull this down, you're gonna have a little page that opens like that. Okay, now one thing I'm gonna do is add some seam binding on this back piece here. Okay, so we're just gonna add a little glue, and you're gonna put your seam binding or ribbon, whatever you have. And if you don't have any of that, you can just do a little piece of cardstock and just kind of fold it, and you know, all you need is a little something to help you pull down. So we're gonna add this tape here and just press that, and I'm gonna add another piece of tape up there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just cover that little section. So we're gonna cut this at 5 1/4, and this piece is about 4 1/2. So you want a piece that's gonna be long enough to go under that belly band. Okay, so we are just going to glue these. Okay, so this is gonna go again under that belly band so you don't get stuck, and just center that right here. Okay, so there we go. So now it will be a lot easier for you to pull this. Okay, so now we are going to cut 2 pieces. These are going to be 6 inches. We're going to do 6 by 5 1/2. 6 by 5 1/2. And we're going to score at 1/2 inch along the 5 1/2. Okay, or you can score at 5. Okay, and then we are going to fold along the score lines at this, and we are going to open and open, and we're going to pull this, and we're going to keep it open like that because that's the way I like to display it. And we're going to add 1 on each side. Okay, so we are going to add the glue, and we're gonna place these on the side right there like that. Okay, and then you want to open that up and add the other piece here. Okay, so let's just line that up and then close it, and then just press down. Okay, so press down, and then here we go again. We're just gonna pull, and you're gonna stop right there, or it kind of stops right there. Okay, you could, I guess, go all the way down, but I like to stop it midway, and then you can open these two pieces here like that, so it looks very 3D. And then we're just gonna close and close and close this whole thing, close and close. Now I have the hinges on my left side. Okay, so I want this page to open first on the right, so that way when I'm flipping the pages it's not doing this. So I'm gonna have this one go on top, so when I flip the pages it stays kind of close. Okay, so you can also add magnets here. I'm not adding magnets. Okay, so I just wanted to have kind of like a free flow. And let's add the paper here. So I think I'm gonna use this girl. Yeah, let's do that one. Okay, so we are going to cut this piece here. This is going to be so this is 5 3/4, so we're gonna cut this at 5 1/2, so we can do that. Let me see, where's 5 1/2. Okay, so we're just gonna have to cut it from here and then cut at 5 1/2, and then cut this by 7 3/4. Okay, and let's ink around this page. Okay, and we can place this piece here. Okay, so let's add the glue. And let's go ahead and add that right there. Okay, so that will open up like that. So we open and open and open, and then we have our pull down. Okay, now let's just work on the back of this page, and then I'll do the paper adding later. So let's cut another piece, and I'm going to do this one at 6 by 8 1/2, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch along the 8 1/2. So I'm just going to score here 1/2 inch and fold. Okay, and then we are going to glue these along the top of the page. Okay, so make sure that you are not going to be on top of your bending line here. So mine is right at it, so I'm gonna just take out a tiny bit here. Okay, so press down, and we're going to add the glue and add this piece along the top. Okay, and then press down. Alright, then I'm just gonna use this piece here from my scraps, and maybe even this one here from my scraps, and I'm going to cut these at 6 1/4. Same thing with this one, 6 1/4, and score at 1/2 inch along the 6 1/4. Okay, and then fold along the score line, and same thing with the other one. So this one is about 6 1/4 by 3 1/2, and this one is 6 1/4 by 5. Okay, and that's okay. All I'm gonna do is use these pieces, and I'm going to glue these. I'm gonna glue this one here on the left side and press down. Okay, and then we can add the other one. Okay, so you could do the other side here. Just gonna play around with that. Or you can do the same side and then kind of just play around with that. I mean, there's so many ways. You could also even put it on this flap and place it right there on top. Or we can put it here. I mean, it's just always so fun to play with paper. So I'm just gonna add this piece on the other side over here. Okay, so we're gonna kind of center it within the other one on the left. So I think over here, press down. It's hard to see black on black, but once we add the paper, you add your paper, you'll see kind of how this is coming along. So this one is going on top of that right there. So the back obviously is bigger, and this one just opens and opens like that. And then for the inside, I want to do a floating page. So I'm gonna use one of my scraps. Cut these. This is about 2.5, so that's okay. But I'm gonna cut these by like maybe 7. And then we're going to score along the 7 inches. We're gonna do 1, 2, and 6. And then we're going to fold, fold here, and we're going to open this up, and I'm going to add this 1-inch section on the back, the opening flap here. So we're gonna add that back there like that, and then we're going to fold these 2 sections back and add glue on the one on the edge. Okay, and then fold both back along the score lines here, and then close this page and press down. Okay, and then we're going to cut a piece. Let me bring a new page here. Let's bring a few pages, and we're going to cut one piece here, and this could be like 6 by 10. Okay, so I'm gonna do 6 by 10, and we're going to score along the 10 inches at 5, and then fold. Okay, and then let's open this up, and this piece that opens like that, we're gonna glue it on top of this platform little section, and this is gonna be our floating layout. So let's add the glue over here, and we're gonna add this piece. So make sure this piece is not going all the way against that back panel, so give it a little space, and then just close these and press down. Okay, so close and press down. There we go. And then so this will open and open. I think I want to add another flap that opens down. So let's cut another piece, and this could be maybe 5.5, or we can do 5 3/4 by 7.5. Okay, and we can score at 1/2 inch along the 7.5 and fold. Okay, and then open and open, and we can add this right here at the center. Okay, so let's place this piece right there, press down, and there we go. So now this opens like that, then this closes, and then this whole thing opens, and then we have our floating page that also opens up to the side. Okay, so now we can go ahead and add paper. So I do have a couple magnets, so I guess I will put a magnet on this one. So let me go ahead and do that. And it's probably not needed if we folded it the other way, but it's okay. We are just gonna add a magnet, and we need some tape. Here it is. Okay, so we're just gonna add some tape, and the magnet up there, and then just press down here and press here. Okay, so that closes up like that. So that is gonna be one of the signatures. Now let's add paper. So I'm going to pick another paper here. I'm gonna do a mix of these designs and of course the scraps that I want to use. So maybe this could go here. So this little piece, we said it measure, let me measure it again. So this here is 3.5 by 5 3/4. So we are going to cut this at 3.25 by 5.5. Okay, and I'm just gonna put that here. And so we are going to add the glue and place that. Okay, so that will go there. And then let's see which one can we use. I think I'm gonna use this other haunted house. Let's use the smaller scale. And actually what we could do is cut. Let me cut this here. Okay, so I'm going to cut the image. So that way we don't have to, kind of worry about centering or cutting. We can always just cut the image and use it as an ephemera piece. And I print my paper on 65-pound cardstock, and I use white or either white or white Dove cardstock, whichever I can find at Michael's, honestly. And it's the same cardstock that I buy to make my binding for my albums. So I use it for everything. I just really like this Michael's papers because it feels really soft. So it's good when you're binding, it's good when you're printing. I just really like it. Okay, so that we can place over here, and maybe I can back this up on the cardstock. Okay, so just gonna glue. Put that here, give it some strength. And we can cut this again. I should have inked this before I glue it, but that's okay. So now I'm just going to add a black outline. Okay, so we're just going around and there we go. Okay, and so we can place this piece right at the center here. We can place it maybe right there. Put it right here. Okay, so I'm going to add my glue on this side. And there you go. So that can go right there. Okay, let's open it to make sure I'm not gluing my page down. Alright, so we have that, and then we can probably use, I don't think that I have enough width, but we could use this for the inside. So I'm gonna cut these at 5 3/4 by, this would be by 5, I think. Let's see, 5 3/4. Oh no, this is gonna be by 4 3/4. So I don't even think this is big enough, but we can place that right here. Okay, and I'm just going to ink this piece. And then on this collection you also get a page. I didn't print all the pages, by the way. You also get a page with ephemera. So if you wanna just basically just the little skeletons there, so you can cut and put on the town. And I don't remember, I mean, I have a video on using this collection. I have a project with that. I'm gonna have to look for it and see if I can link it below, because I just had a lot of fun putting the little people on the town and, you know, making them move around and stuff. Okay, so that will be that, and then I'm just gonna add cardstock here. I mean, I know I can probably do this off camera, but I'm just gonna cut a piece here at 5 1/2 by 6 3/4. I think it will be the page for this flap. Okay, just so we can dress it up a little bit. Oh, I actually like the black, so let's see which side we want. I like the side with the bones, so I'm gonna use this one. Okay, so that way it looks like she's standing on something. And then maybe we can use like the bats. That probably won't be big enough, but let's see. Just trying to use my scraps. I guess I can use this one here. And so this will be, this size is 5. So I'm going to add this at 4 3/4 by 5 1/2. And then we can put that piece right here. Okay, so let's take that out and add the glue. Okay, so I think this is good enough to kind of see how it's coming along with, you know, the colors and stuff. And then you can always add more things and just, you know, maybe something like, if you wanted to add more little details, you can put a little banner here. I think that would be cute. So I'm just gonna make a little banner. Something like that. just glue a little piece. So you can always use those as little tag spot if you wanted to put something in there. Okay. Okay, so now we can add these signatures. So that's gonna be here in between these two. So we are just going to glue that 1/2 inch section down. Okay, and let's go ahead and add the glue. Okay, and I'm gonna place this right there. Okay, so right in between the other two. Let's go ahead and press down. Hey guys, this is Rosa Kelly. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to continue working on our mini album using a little golden book. So we are using the Nightmare Before Christmas here, the story, and so I'm using the little golden book for the cover, and I even have the pages here, and I am keeping the sequence of this story as the original book here, not altering the order of the pages, but I am adding some cardstock to also have it as a little journal slash album and start documenting our October memories here. So on the last video, we went ahead and created this signature page, and the first video we did the cover, second video we did the book signature pages, and then yesterday we worked on the signature mini album signature interactive page here. So I went ahead and finished adding the paper, so I just wanted to give you a look. I'm also using my digital collection Halloween Town, so it will be linked below if you want to get these digitals. So I just went ahead and added some of that here, and then over here we have this interactive page, and I just added some white cardstock for pages, and then this opens and opens, and then a cute image there from the collection, and then places for pictures, and then we can just slide this back down, and then this closes here, and then on the back we have this page opens up like that and like this, and then this opens down. So I also went ahead and added the paper there. I love this haunted house page, and it's a combination of the digital collection and some of my scrap paper or leftover collections that I have for Halloween. And then this is another 3D platform page here that opens up like that. Okay, so now we're gonna start working on the second signature page that we're gonna add over here, and we're gonna get right to it. So we are going to cut, actually I think we had the base ready for these. Oh yes, I do. Okay, so this page was cut at 7 by 8, and I went ahead and scored along the 7 inches at 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and that is what gave us this base page. So we created this one on the last episode, so you should probably have it already. And now we're going to be adding some layouts to this. So I'm going to cut one piece here. This is going to be 6, okay, by 8.5, and we're going to score along the 8.5 at 1/2 inch. So let me grab my score tool here. Okay, so along the 8.5 we're going to score at 1/2 inch and fold. Okay, and then we are just going to glue these along the top of the page. And so let's go ahead and add the glue. Okay, and we're going to add this piece here. and so press down. Okay, and then on the inside here, I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to be cutting another piece, and this one is going to be, actually I'm gonna get a new one of these. So we are going to cut this at 8 by 6. Okay, so 8 by 6, and we are going to score along the 8 inches at 2, 4, and 6, and then we're going to score along the 6 inches at 1.5, 3, and 4.5. Okay, and we are going to take out the sections on the corners, so we're just gonna completely cut those off. So we have that, this one. Okay, so here, and there we go. So now we're going to fold this piece, so we're gonna basically match the top center score line to the score lines on the side. So I'm gonna start going to the left side, and then just press down. So you want to match the score line when you fold it to basically be aligned with the score line here, and then once you have it there, you're just gonna press down and get that line right here, and then we're gonna do the same, go from the top to the other side. So just kind of match that line here, and then press down. Okay, and now that you have your X at the center, you're going to just squish these through. I squeeze the sides and bring them together. Okay, so we're gonna pinch and bring together, and then press down. Press down and press down. And then I'm just going to even out this here. Okay, so that is going to be the mechanism for our pop-up. And then I'm going to cut my cardstock. So let me do one piece, and this is going to be 5 3/4. Okay, we're gonna do 5 3/4, and this is gonna be by 8.5. And then we're gonna do another one that is going to be, this one's too small. Too small. Okay, so I might have to cut another one. So this one is also going to be 5 3/4. Okay, so this is gonna be 5 3/4 by 8. Okay, so we're going to score the piece that is 8.5. We're going to score at 4 and at 8, and the other one we are just going to score at 4, and we're going to fold along the score lines. Okay, and we're going to connect these two here. So I'm just going to add my glue on the 1/2 inch section. Okay, and then we are going to join this here. Okay, and then this is going to be an accordion fold piece right there. Okay, then we're gonna add this accordion fold in between these two pieces here, and when you add these, you want to make sure that the center is pointing away from this piece. Okay, so you want the center pointing out, and then you want to place it right in between. So I'm just gonna add glue on this side and glue on that side right there, and we're going to place this right at the center. Okay, so I'm only gluing these I'm only going in about 1/2 inch. Okay, so you want to keep some space here and just go glue it only about 1/2 inch like that in right there. Hope you know what I mean. And so we're just gonna press down. That's really gonna help this whole piece open a lot better. And then I'm just gonna cut a tiny bit here on the tip. And now we're gonna bring our page, and we're going to add this page here where you open this up. That is gonna go right there. So make sure you're right in between and center. Okay, and then we're going to glue this down. So I'm gonna add my glue on this side over here and place this right next to that bending line. Okay, so press down, and then we're going to add glue on the top. Okay, and then we're going to close this and press down. Okay, and then we're gonna give this a minute to dry. Now we're going to go ahead and open this up. So you're just gonna open this top section, and you're gonna have your pop-up right here, places for pictures, and this will fit pretty much almost a 4x6 if you just crop it a little bit. So large picture spaces here, and then we're just gonna close these up. Okay, and you want to play with this so it becomes really flexible to open and close, and just get your cardstock used to that bending motion. Okay, so that's gonna be this side. Now for the back, I am going to use these pieces that I have extra, so I'm gonna use all of these, and I'm going to cut these pieces at 8. Okay, and this will be by about maybe 5 or 5 1/4. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do 5, so they're all the same. Okay, so 4 pieces here at 8 by 5, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch along the 5 inches. Okay, so we're just gonna do 1/2 inch, and then something here, 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, and then we're going to fold. Oops, fold along the score lines and fold. Okay, and then we are going to bring this back, and we're gonna add 2 pieces on this left side and then 2 pieces on the other side. So let's add these. Okay, so we have that, press down, and now we're going to do the 2 on the other side. Okay, so we're just going to do that. And this here. Okay, and then press down. And I'm just going to open and press and down. And then so these pieces will now close. You can do side to side like that. So one side and then one side here. And there you go. So that's gonna be our signature number 2. And let's go ahead and add our paper. So I'm gonna bring back my designs here, and I want to use this page here. So I'm gonna cut. Let me get closer. So this is going to be 5 3/4, and I know we're gonna lose some of the house. Maybe I can cut. Maybe closer here. So 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. So I'm gonna do this right here, and then I do want to ink on this page. Okay, and then this will go right here. And we can add that. Okay, and okay, so now we'll put paper there. I think I'm just gonna do white cardstock for that, and then we can do the back over here. So I have this cute little monster. I think he's so cute. So this will have to be a little bit smaller. We can center that, and so this is going to be 7 3/4. So let's maybe do more. That 7 3/4 by 4 1/4. So let's see, maybe over here. Try to center the little house. That's okay. And again, okay. And then I'm just going to ink all around. Okay, and we are going to glue this piece. Okay, and then I have some of my scrap pieces. I don't know if this would fit here. It's a little small. Let's see if I have something bigger. I have these, but this one has that hole, so I don't know if that would be okay. Let's try. I think they all have the same hole, so they're all kind of a little bit of an issue here with that, but okay, we can always cover that up with something. But let me just go back to this image. Oh, he's so cute and creepy. So I'm gonna put this one at the end. So this is gonna be 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. Okay, so let's ink. And okay, and then I'm gonna put this one at the end, right there. So let's add the glue. Place that right here. Okay, so that's gonna be that for now, and then I'll come back and I'll add, maybe I can just add these. I like that So again, 7 3/4, and now this is gonna be 4 1/4, but we have that little cutout, so I might need to cover that up with something. So I'm just gonna place it like that. And that can go here. Okay, so press down. Okay, and that's gonna go there. So maybe we can do another little, what do you call it? Like another little flag thingy. Or maybe we can just even put something like that. Right, so I'm going to do this thing again. Oops, it's hard to fold, but let's see. Let me fold the corners. Okay, like that. Okay, and then we can put that right there to cover that up. Quick and simple solution. Right, there we go. And then you can use it as a tuck spot too, like that, or more like these. Or you can just put a picture behind that. Okay, so let's do these. Okay, so I think I like that. I might do the same for all of these. But we can now go ahead and add these to our book. So let me move these to the side. And we will be pretty much done with the construction of the book. And we can be ready to start decorating and adding our memories on this book. So I'm going to open up to the last page or the last section here, and we're gonna be adding this hinge right there. Okay, so I'm going to be gluing this piece. So about very close to that back folding line. Okay, so that's where I'm gonna put it and press down. Okay, so press, and over here too, I'm just gonna give it a good fold right there. Look how cute. Oh, I love it. Okay, so now we have these. Opens up like that. Look how perfect it opens. I love it. And then I kind of want to add paper right there. So maybe I can add this page here. So let me cut 2 pieces. These are gonna be 5 3/4. Okay, so I am just doing 5 3/4, which is perfect because that circle opening just kind of stayed on this little piece here. Okay, so we are going to glue this down. Okay, so using all of our paper. Now I do have scraps to put in here, but I think I'm just gonna do white cardstock there. I like the look of the white and the black, and it will be a nice outline for the pictures that you're gonna be adding there. Okay, so now I'm just going to glue this piece here. There you go. So that's gonna go there. So now it looks more finished. It makes this piece stand out when you cover those two for some reason. Okay, and okay, so there we go. So now we have our book pretty much finished. I do want to add more of my design paper to these pages that are kind of plain, and I really like this one, so I might use this for the front here. So instead of cutting a whole piece, I'm just gonna cut around it. And just add this to the page. Okay, I love the sound of the paper. So here we go. So we are just going to ink. Okay, so just ink this little piece, and we can put it right here. Okay, so I'm just going to add okay, and then of course we have to add the girl. Okay, so we're just gonna cut. How cute! I love her. So we're just going to ink around. Cute, super cute. Okay, so we can put her right in front of her house, right there. Right, just kind of like inviting you in. That. Or we can put it on the side, but I think it just goes, it makes more sense on the house. So I'm just gonna add the glue right here. Okay, so that's gonna go there. So cute. Okay, and then just press down. There we go. Love it. Okay, so you can obviously have fun adding more images to the pages. I love the gold, so I don't want to cover that too much, but I do want to use this other house, so maybe I'll just find another page to add it to. Right, like over here somewhere maybe. Let's see if I want to put it. So I guess I'll think about how I'm adding that last page, because I don't want to just not use it. But anyway, so okay, look how cute this is coming along. And it's pretty much at this point ready for you to start adding your memories. Now I wanted to just finish doing a little bit of embellishing here with some, maybe some laces. So we have some laces and some bling, and we are just going to get this book ready and, you know, dress her up so to be a little bit more fancy and just more my style, I guess. So I'm going to be adding this bling and all of these laces and trims that I had on my stash for a long time, but for the most part they came from Joann's, and then some from like Hobby Lobby, and so that's where you can find some of these things. Okay, so I love this. It's one of my favorites, and of course I always save it. I only use little bits at a time. So we are just gonna bling these up. Just makes such a difference, just adding that little bit. Okay, so we're just gonna press down, and I'm using my 3-in-1 craft glue, but you can also use fabric glue to add this lace here. Okay, so that will go there. I won't do it on the back because I do want this to lay flat, and I don't want it to be scratching my table, and I just don't want it to be uncomfortable for when you are actually using your book. Okay, so then I have this other one that I have used a lot. I love using this one. Like, let me show you the other Halloween book. So you can dress up any collection by just using, you know, mixing some different bling, some different laces, just like I did on this other one. This one has black and pink, of course. And by the way, I am having a live class this Saturday. We're recreating a mini album very similar to this, so it's gonna be a full day crop. So if you want to sign up, I still have openings, and I'll link it below, but it will be a live event. We're going to be crafting together, and also we will be making that. The one I show you is a 6x6, so we're making a bigger version of that, like an 8x8. So I'll link it below if you guys would like to join. We're having giveaways, and it's just going to be a really fun day of crafting. I need it. A much needed day of crafting. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that right here and put this piece right here. So now I don't want to put it here because I already have that, but I also want this piece to be showcased, so it's a good thing to kind of put it on the back right there, so you still have that lace effect, but you are not, it doesn't look like it's too much. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that on this back side. Okay, so I'm gonna glue it. I might not need this little piece here, so I'm just gonna take this out. Okay, and let's add the glue on this side. Okay, so like that. Let me center that. Okay, so maybe I center this lower, and then I can cut a little bit of this top. Okay, all right, so far I am really liking this, but of course we want to add more, and feel free to stop at any time. So I'm gonna use this other one, and I also want this to be kind of just hanging from the side of the journal, of the book, so we can put it somewhere down here, and I don't want this to cover my image. I should have put the girl higher, but it doesn't have to come from the first page. It could come even from this back page, right? Because you just want to see the little bit peeking through. So I'm gonna put that blue lace trim here. right there. Okay, so that I'm just gonna glue this down, and just look how pretty it looks. I am gonna take out some of that. Okay, so some coming from right there. Okay, so let's clean this up a bit. Okay, and then of course we want more of that. So let's see, on the longer pages, so like this is a longer page, maybe I should make this one a little bit shorter. And no, because then we'll see this. Okay, so I'll leave it, but maybe back here on this longer page we can add more of this bling here, lace and bling. Okay, so I'm just gonna add that, and whoops, and I'm going to add this over here. There's a lot of little fuss. Okay, so we're just gonna put that one here. And I just love how creepy the collection is, but also how elegant and girly, cutesy, with the little dolls dressed up, very Victorian, or skeleton girls, I guess. And this lace, you know. Okay, so every time when I add lace, I love to see how it looks from the outside, because that's the point, to make different layers of this. And I kind of want another layer here, and it might not have to be here exactly, but I don't want to cover too much of that. So let's see, where can we actually put that? Maybe we can put it here, and we still have a little bit of that lace peeking through, right? We're just gonna add that over here. So again, I'm going to cut a piece, and I don't have more black fabric, I mean black laces, but ideally I like to mix a lot of different ones. Okay, so let's add the glue, and place that right there. Okay. Cute. And then I'm just going to even the sides. Okay. So there we go. We have that. I love it. Okay, then we're gonna go back to the other one, okay? The one that has the hanging. And I guess we could cut it right at the middle. And we can put that somewhere. Let's see, where do we want to go with that? Page that's more plain, so this one would be a good page for that. I should have made that longer. Okay, that's okay. We're just gonna glue that from here to here. More layers right there. Okay. So look at that. Okay, so that's how it's looking now. Because the book also has purple, I'm gonna glue this here again. This is kind of coming out. I'm gonna add more glue on the edge. Okay, so I also have some purple trim, so I think I'm gonna bring some of that. So I just have this little bit here, but I think it will be cute as a little pop of color so it doesn't look so black everywhere. So we can put a little pop of that purple like that, maybe, because we do have some purple tones going in here. And this one is better because it won't cover the image right there. So let's go for it. It's gonna add that right here. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut that right there. Now this book is all dressed up now, like like the images, ready to go to a Halloween social event. Okay, so that is cute. I love it. And maybe we can add one more of this purple tone. Maybe we can pick this one. And I like putting them like long like this, but you can, of course, if you only have little bits, use your little bits and put them as little tabs. And the point is, so when you close your journal or book, you can see different things hanging from the side, different colors, different bits and pieces. Okay, so like this one here. Okay, so I guess we could also put it on the back. Let's see how that would look. Yeah, on the back, maybe it's not a bad idea to put it right there. Okay, actually, oof, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna put on the backpack this one here. Okay, so I'll just do that. Okay, just change the plan a little bit. Okay, I think that looks better. And then we'll do the purple back on this other page that I found. That now I don't know where it is, but oh, we can do it in here. Was it this one? No, there's another one. Come on. Oh, it was this one here. Okay, just add some of these purple. Right there. Okay, so that's all of that. Press down, and just a little bit of that one poking through. Maybe I'm gonna pull it out a little more. Just pull you out here. I'm making sure I'm not gluing my pages. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so let's clean this up. Okay, there we go. So you can add pictures there. You can add little flaps if you want to just dress it up a little bit more. So let me bring something, something like that. You can always add some more. And in pages like that, kind of plain, I do feel like we kind of maybe want to continue building a little bit more. And I'm just gonna add, again, using my scraps, just adding that little flap. And also, as you're adding your pictures or collecting your memories, you can always continue adding little flaps like these, or little pockets. That right there. I should have done this before I glue it, but I think it needs to be round. Okay, there we go. And okay, so that is gonna be it, I think, unless I come up with something else I want to keep adding, as I always do. Like, see, like pockets like this, they're just glued on the top of the page. You can add on any of these pages here, or you can do it as you're adding your layouts. And even this little flap, feel free to add another piece here. So now you can add a full picture, or a bigger picture. It doesn't have to be a full picture. You can place it like that on your flap. So now you have a picture here, and then you have a little layer. Just by adding that little bit, it just looks a lot more interesting, right? More layers. So now we are ready to actually start documenting. So since I'm having this as an October daily, I won't be probably doing a video every day, but I will come and share with you some layouts and the process of me embellishing and adding pictures, and maybe adding more flaps as we go throughout the month. I want to thank you again, and I'll see you on the next one.